This video is going to be a very simple one. I'm going to show you how to set up an end of day reflection workflow so that it's easy and is something that you look forward to doing at the end of the day. Now, if you've watched my previous video on how to set up a daily reflection, this is pretty much the exact same process. I'm just going to use a little bit of a different format and tweak things just ever so slightly. So I'm going to run through a couple tips here. Of course, I'm going to be using a voice note transcription for this. And if you're on the desktop app, that's just the microphone here. And if you're using the mobile app, either on the iPhone or the iPad, you can see there's a nice big record button in the bottom center menu there that you can use. And I mention that because you're almost certainly going to want to record this on your phone. I really hate opening my laptop screen within, I don't know, like an hour of when I go to sleep, because I'm an insomniac and that just hurts me in terms of making it easy to fall asleep. So I always do it on my phone. And I know you're not really supposed to look at a phone screen either before you go to sleep, but I do have the reflect widget set up. So it's one tap and I keep it in dark mode. So I think it's fine. And then I'm going to show you how to set up a custom prompt. I'm actually probably going to do that one first. So let me just bump that up to number 1 there. And then finally, I'm just going to set a simple recurring timer because I have a goldfish brain and there's no way that I would remember to do this every night. So let's kind of get started with the custom prompt. I'm going to just show it to you first. So I'm going to run it on a word here. So the actual result will just be nonsense, but I can pull this up and show you what my custom prompt is. And again, if you haven't set up a custom prompt, you just click on the clone button down here, give it whatever name you want, and then you can start editing. So this first paragraph that I have here just kind of gives it some, helpful tips for formatting, instructs it not to surround in quotes, instructs it that everything put in a parentheses here is just instruction and is not to be carried over directly. And I like emojis, so I put a little moon emoji in here, and that helps me differentiate it from my daily reflection, which has sun. And then that's the title and my backlink note, this whole thing here, end of day reflection. And then in the formatting, you can see I have the first component here, just what are 3 things that went well. The second one, what are 3 things that did not go well. And then finally, a top priority for the next day. I like that one because I like to wake up and just sort of know what my top priority is. And if I wake up and my mind is fixated on a different priority, that's kind of useful for me to know. And I can kind of reflect on why that changed from when I went to bed to when I woke up. And then, you could add whatever you want to this. You could make it simpler. You could make it more complex, but I like to keep it simple in the evening. So this is the format that I'm going to be using, and this is my custom prompt. So let's kind of give it a quick whirl here. I'll record a quick audio note, pretending that this was maybe an hour before I go to bed or something. Okay, this is my evening reflection. I'm going to start with 3 things that went well today. Today, I got to spend a few hours skiing in the morning because I'm in Europe, and that's pretty rare to be able to do during the week for me. So I'm very happy about that. I had a lot of ideas today that I'm very excited about. And to be honest, that's one of my more enjoyable parts of work and life, is just coming up with ideas. So I had a lot of fun with that. And in connection with that, I started one of my first coding projects today. I'm kind of trying to learn how to code, and that is something that I'm excited to actually get started building. 3 things that didn't go well today. I had a few frustrating emails that I just couldn't really force myself to do till the end of the day. And I found myself sort of ruminating on them throughout the day. I'm a little bit under the weather today. You can see I'm a little bit flushed, and I don't feel 100%. And I didn't sleep very well last night, which is not great. So maybe that's why I'm not feeling 100% today. Tomorrow, my top priority, I'm actually going to be going to some Christmas markets here in Austria with my fiance, and I'm going to take a day off. So that's my top priority for tomorrow, is just enjoying being with my fiance and exploring Christmas markets. All right. Sorry you had to listen through that, but I do think it's helpful to kind of just go through how I actually do it. And I'll wait for this to populate here. It will probably just take a second or 2. Okay. So here I have the transcribed voice note that I just took. So as always, I'm going to select it, do Command J to pull up the AI assistant, and click on end of the day reflection. And it's going to run and format it here, just like how I outlined in my own custom prompt. So I'm going to let that go until it's finished. This one shouldn't take very long, very fast now. So I will then replace it I'm going to close out the audio memo because once I format it, I no longer treat it like an audio memo. And now I have my actual end of day reflection in here. And of course, as always, I could go into the backlink note. I could put the format that I'm using for my reflection in there. And then in the bottom, I will also see all the backlink notes. So I can see every day that I've actually done my end of day reflection. And because I'm a little bit neurotic, I'm just going to close it up to keep my notes nice and clean here. That's about it. The last thing is just that I do really recommend setting a timer because I don't think it's very easy to remember to do this off the top of your head. So I set a timer for 9 p.m. on my phone. It's a silent timer, so it doesn't annoy me. But when I look down at my phone before I go to sleep, I kind of see that notification and know to do my reflection before I go to sleep. So that's pretty much it. I highly recommend doing this. It does bring a nice sense of comfort and closure to the end of the day. Even if you had a really rough day, it's pretty therapeutic to force yourself to think of 3 things that went well. And then you also get a vent about the 3 things that didn't go well. So highly recommend it. Use whatever format you like and incorporate it into your routine.